Hey guys, welcome back to the QST YouTube channel. Today we will be solving the Term 2 Week 3 AMS quiz. So for this question we need to find the equation for the graph. As we can see here, the graph intercepts the x-axis at -3. So we eliminate this and this. Now for the now to find out which one is correct, if it's like this or a saddle point, it will be this one. But since it's smooth like this, something like this, it will be this one, number 2. For this one, we need to find out what theta could be. So we need to memorize that uh, sine radical 3 over 2 is 60, and sine is either the angle itself or the angle and its supplement. It's either the angle or the supplement of the angle. It's not this or this because these are negative. It's there. Okay. It's this one because pi over 3 is 60. It's 2 pi over 3 because it's 120. And we have to find out if 7 pi over 3 is equal to sine 3 sine radical 3 over 2. For sine, it's always the angle plus 360k or the supplement of the angle plus 360k. And 7 pi over 3 is 420, which is 360 plus 60, number 3. To find out if it's symmetric about the origin, we need to substitute x by 1 and -1, so we can find out if the equation is odd. If we substitute 1 in the first equation, it will be 1 over 2. And if we substitute by -1, it will be -1 over 2. If we substitute by 1 in the second equation, it will be 2 over 2, which is 1. And if we substitute by -1, it will be -2 over 2, which is -1. Now we substitute 1 and -1 in the third equation. If we substitute by 1, it will be 1 over 3, and if we substitute by -1, it will be -1 over 1, which is not correct. And now let's substitute 1 and -1 in the next one. If we substitute by 1, we get 1 over 2, and if we substitute by -1, we get -1 over 2. If we substitute in the last equation, we substitute by 1 and -1 to find out if it's odd or even. So we substitute 1 so if we substitute by 1, it will be 1 over 2, and if we substitute by -1, it will be -1 over 2, number 4. To find out if it's symmetric about the y-axis, it needs to be even, meaning that if we substitute 1 and -1, it will be equal. Unlike in number 3, where it has to be the opposite. Now we substitute by 1 and -1, and we find out that if we substitute x by 1, it's 1 over 2, and if we substitute by -1, it will be -1 over 2, so this one's wrong. And then we do the same thing in the second equation, and if we substitute it by 1, it will be 1 over 3, and if we substitute it by -1, it will be -1 over 1. If we do the same thing for the third equation, we will get that if we substitute x by 1, y will be equal to 1 over 2, and if we substitute by -1, it will be -1 over 2. For the last two, we substitute by 1 and -1. If we substitute x by 1, y will be equal to 1 over 2, and if we substitute by -1, it will be positive 1 over 2. So it's this one. And then for the last one, we substitute by 1 and -1, and if we substitute by 1, it will be 1 over 2, and if we substitute by -1, it will be 1 over 2 as well. For this one, we need to find for this question in part A, we need to find out if like the correlation in the scatter diagram is strong because it's a clear straight line and it's negative because it's going downwards. Now to find this one, to find part B, we do the slope equation. So first of all, let's take any point which we will take here to be 1290, 1290, and 2060. We will find out that the slope will be negative 3.75. We need to find the slope which is negative 3.75, so the equation itself is y equals negative 3.75x plus b. So we take negative 3.75x to the other side so we can match this equation. So, and then we do times 4 everywhere because they are asking for 4y. So then we substitute x and y by numbers on the line. So we substitute x by 20 and y by 60. And then we find out that, and then if we substitute, we get that b is 540. Now for c, we we go to 12 here on the x-axis, and then we go up to where it intersects on the line, and we find out that it's 90. Now for d, we find out where the most dots are, and it's clear here that between 80 and 90 there are the most dots, and it's b. B is between 80 and 90. We know that 1 minus tan squared equals secant squared, so it's 1 minus tan squared minus 22 tan and that 1 plus tan squared equals secant squared, so it's 1 plus tan squared minus 22 tan plus 20 equals 0, so it's tan squared plus minus 22 tan plus 1 plus 21. So we do tan minus tan minus 1 and 21. They already gave us 1, so it's 21. Number 7. Since they're asking if it's symmetrical, what the origin is just 6, 8. Just switch the sign. For this one, it's just 10. We just take whatever is in the denominator equal to 0. Number 9. For the horizontal asymptote, we do the coefficient of x up minus the coefficient divided by the coefficient of x down, so it's 4. For the vertical asymptote, we do exactly what we did in the last question, and we make the denominator equal to 0, and we find out that x is equal to 2. For the y-intercept, we substitute x by 0, so it's going to be 120 divided by negative 4, which is negative 30. To find where it crosses the x-axis at, we substitute y by 0, and we find out that that it's negative 50, it crosses the x-axis at negative 15, 0. If an image is symmetric about the y-axis, you only switch the sign of the x, not y. So it's going to be 6, negative 8. Number 11. We do the same thing we did in the last question, except that they want it in... Just give me a second, guys. Just that they want it now in sine. So it's gonna be 1 plus sine x equals to So it's 1 minus sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. So it's gonna be sine squared minus 1. We take we take one of them to the other side, so it's gonna be sine squared minus sine negative 2. Then we put it here, then we do sine plus minus, and then here will be 2, here will be 1, so it's just gonna be 2. Number 12. Now for this one, as we said here, 1 1 plus sine squared equals to no. We know that 1 sine squared plus cosine squared equals to 1, as we found last time. So it's gonna be 1 minus 9 over 25, because we squared the sine entirely, so it's gonna be 16. Number 13. We found Now that a few questions ago we found out that 1 plus tan squared equals secant squared. So 1 plus 49 over 25, because we squared the entire thing. 1 plus 49 over 25 equals k over 25. We find out that k is 74. Number 14. We do the exact same thing. First of all, we need to find cosine squared before we do 160 times cosine squared. So cosine squared will be 5 over 8, and then we do times 160 to find 160 cosine squared. So it's gonna be 100. Number 15. Based on the line of the best fit, what exam score is expected for a student who studied for 7 hours? So we go to the graph and we find 7, which is between 6 and 8. And then we go up to find out where it intersects the line at, which will be at 88. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys the best of luck in your exam, and see you next time.